Hey everyone, really excited to speak with James this week, who just broke into deal as an SDR. Obviously, we're really excited for you, and a ton we'll break down. Maybe just as a starting point, share a little bit about your background and what got you looking at tech sales.
Yeah, so my background initially went to college on a basketball scholarship. Was actually looking forward to try to have a career in that. Got hurt my freshman year. Didn't have a motivation for school anymore, honestly. So dropped out my freshman year. My mom was actually in the insurance industry, as an adjuster, working hurricane claims. Saw it was good money there, so I went that route and did that for about 6 years, 6 or 7 years out of college. Got really stagnant, no growth trajectory in that career. And a mentor of mine actually told me that you would be great at tech sales. He taught me how to invest in the stock market. So I followed the NASDAQ, things of that nature. So he said you'd be great at tech sales. You've been in a customer facing role. So that's what got me looking into tech sales.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I know one thing unique to you as well, compared to some of the folks we work with, is that you actually did take another program. And maybe before we get into the ins and outs of both, I'm just curious kind of what went into that decision to even invest in training, whether it was us or whether it was someone else in the beginning as well.
Sure. So mindset, I always hear like successful people say that success loves speed. So I don't want to try to figure it out. I'm willing to invest and learn from the best and learn from people who's already been where I'm trying to get. So SV Academy came up on the radar, I guess, because they had maybe more money for promotion. Took that course, very informative, but a lot of fluff. It didn't really show you how to actually break into tech. It was more a course of what to do once you're in the role, sort of like you guys SDR Accelerator. So it was a lot of things that were lacking there as far as breaking into tech. I landed an interview at a well-known tech company. Didn't go well, didn't do good on the first screening, didn't get moved forward. That's before I found you guys. So it's like, okay, I need to find someone who actually knows how to break into tech. And that's when I went looking and saw your top competitor, not SV Academy, saw them and saw their testimonies. We can speak on that as well, but that's what initially made me move forward as far as seeking more help.
Nice, I love it. Obviously, super grateful that you picked us. What went into that decision? So like you were back on the market looking for like new training for a little while. You were looking at different, you're looking at us. I assume Course Careers, a couple of other folks. Like,
Yeah.
What was it about higher levels that made you say like this feels like the right fit, even after maybe getting quote unquote burnt with another boot camp or course?
Sure. So full transparency, I did see Course Careers, but what I noticed, and again, I'm not trying to throw anyone, talk negative on anyone, but I saw like a few of their testimonies, and what I would see is there'll be this post on YouTube, and it's like nothing for a year or 2 years after that. So it's like, okay, you basically just posted this to get this affiliate pay, and it's like I didn't really trust in that, and came across Eric's Higher Levels channel and got a lot of great insight from that. The thing that stood out to me was that I would see that you guys would comment and respond to people on the YouTube videos. And I mean like a thorough comment, like really giving a thorough response. And I'm like, if he would do that for free, I can imagine the value I would get, paying for a course. And being that you guys have already been SDRs and crushed it, it's like, okay, let me learn from some guys that actually know what they're doing. So sign up for the free community, reached out to Eric, like, hey, I'm signing up for this weekend. And I signed up for it, actually signed up for it. Ascension and SDR Accelerator on accident. Got some clarification from Eric on what the difference was, and I was like, hey, I don't need a refund. Once I land a role, I need SDR Accelerator anyway. So that's how that worked out.
Nice. I love that. You probably use the combination. Some people will actually end up buying SDR Accelerator, which is super interesting because like we try to be really firm about like this is for when you break in, but a lot of people will just get it and then use it to kind of like be extra specialized even during the interviews. So I'm sure you maybe like combine the two, and that's not a requirement for anybody else out there by any means, but that's super. And you crushed it, by the way. Like you've been super active inside the community. You've been super helpful.
Thanks,
like
man.
you just took action. So like, I don't think there was ever any doubt about like you landing at a really good logo, but I love that you did it like at the pace that you did it, how well that you went through the process. I guess now that you've been through higher levels, like consume the content, was there a specific part of the program that was more helpful or that maybe like changed the game, gave you that stuff that you were looking for when you went on the hunt again a little while ago?
Perfect. A few things. I would say the top three that stand out. The the accelerator workbook, not the accelerator, but the workbook and essentials that you guys have, like for the interviews and also for the outreach. Taking that template for the email outreach, LinkedIn outreach, that was super helpful. I tweaked that myself and actually just created like a cadence that I was following, a sequence as SDR should. That was super helpful. The live calls with Ryan, tweaking your resume, the live calls with Ben, getting that initial feedback, and also those cold calls that you can listen to. I was going through those and just finding ones that really stuck out that I can kind of get some gems from as well. So those are probably the top 3 things for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And again, not just studying, but taking massive action. And I'd love to maybe with this next question too, something that totally happens and I think is honestly the best learning experience in the world. Sounds like your first ever interview went horribly.
Yeah.
Obviously, you now landed at like quite literally one of the best companies in the world. So maybe just free advice for people out there watching. What do you think you changed in your approach with those maybe first or second round interviews that really set you apart? And then we'll look later at some of the later stage.
Yeah, so before taking higher levels, again, for anyone who's new to the tech space, you don't know what you don't know. Like if you think you're just gonna come in and have an interview and you're just gonna get the job, is tech sales interview process is like totally different from any other interview process. So you have to really get the knowledge to know what you're getting into. But once I got the foundation from you guys and knew how to go about it, again, I know my story is like super unique. Like since I had signed up with higher levels, every interview that I got, I went all the way, either final round or offer letter. And those results are not typical. But just learning from each interview. So the first screening round, seeing what I did well there, take it to the second round, hiring manager, and always taking feedback. Even when I get moved forward, I would just take the feedback and take it on to the next round and get better and better. My outreach got better. I would tweak my emails and my outreach and say, okay, this worked, but how can I make it more concise? Less bullet points. So basically getting better as an SDR, I think really worked for me and just really taking on the mentality of being an SDR.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And I know obviously you had, a pretty solid experience, 6-7 years in insurance, like you mentioned, probably some customer facing experience as well. But that being said, maybe you get towards these final rounds with a cold call exercise or discovery call exercise, and you've never done that in tech specifically, if you will, which I think for some people is just like, seems intimidating, seems really daunting. So open-ended question, but if there's any advice you'd give to anyone who's doing these types of exercises for the first time, what are things that you learned along the way and really set yourself apart, again, to land at like one of the best companies in the world?
I would say practice. I think people are kind of nervous and don't want to role play with people that feel like awkward about it. Get over that. Like get over it quick. You have to role play. You have to do these exercises. It's better to mess up with someone that you're just role playing with versus doing it in the interview with the hiring manager. So get those repetitions in. It's like playing sports. Of course, I have a sports background. It's like if you don't get up 100 shots in the gym, how do you expect to be in the game like Steph Curry and just make the shot? Got to get those repetitions in. So definitely getting a lot of practice, getting over the nervousness. I think that would definitely help out a lot of people.
Nice, man. I love it. I love it. And this is our infamous last closing question here. But any tips or any suggestion or advice or tips for folks out there who are considering like tech sales ascension, considering going into this? I know that you just left a golden nugget right there, but there's so many people that I think are in a similar position as yourself. And I think that this is going to be a lot of gold, but anything maybe you'd leave those folks with?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, if you're serious about breaking into tech, then get with higher levels. If you're just one of those people who want to, take a course just to get a certificate to post and you're not going to do anything, stay away. But if you want to really break in, you're going to put in the work and you're serious about it, definitely sign up with higher levels. And you see the testimonies. I'm just another testimony. It's definitely going to pay off if you put in the work. And just another little nugget, not just, to toot higher levels, but you see that our students are breaking into, the best companies that are available. And that doesn't mean that you have to break into a top company, but, the proof is in the pudding on what we're doing here. And if you want to really go for it, I would definitely say invest in higher levels.
I love it, man. Hey, we appreciate the kind words. And I mean, you're a killer. So I'm just super excited to see you absolutely crush it at Deal. I think it's going to be, and we're going to see you inside the SDR community as well. But James, appreciate the time, man. So much good stuff in here. If anybody else out there is watching, definitely hit up James if you're not too busy with onboarding and ramping. Don't blow him up too much, but we're going to drop James's LinkedIn down below, so definitely hit him up if you need some help or advice. But this was killer. Eric, I don't know if you have any famous last words, but this was awesome.
No, I was just going to say, I'll say it for James because we were talking about it off the recording, but don't hit him with a generic question of like, how did you break into tech sales? Like, he's not going to respond. I'm going to say that ahead of time. So if you actually ask James a question through his LinkedIn, make sure it's actually a well thought out question. But a great guy to learn from, and James, like, super excited for you, man. So congrats again.
Yeah, just want to say a big thank you to Eric and Chris for creating Higher Levels. The foundation and the community that you guys provided was super helpful. It's been a blessing to me. So I just want to say super thank you to you guys.
Hey, we appreciate it, James. And thanks for all the hard work, man. You're going to absolutely crush it.